girl shit. And if the beat live, you know Lil Juke made it. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Body crazy curvy wavy big titties little waist. Body crazy curvy wavy big titties little waist. Body yaddy 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 yaddy. Look at how I bodied that, ate it up and gave it back. Yeah, you look good, but they still wanna know we're making it. Saucy like a barbecue, but you won't get your baby back.
Welcome back to another episode of Pretty Plus Size and Powerful Podcast, rated number 7 of plus size podcasts in the world by FeedSpot. Yay us. Thank you for joining us. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or listener, what up, fam? Y'all know what it is. In case you don't know the voice, it is me, Aziza, aka Zebo, aka the Human Universe, aka your favorite fat girl. And all the way across the country, I got my bestie with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Ruthia, aka the spoiled one, aka the real one, aka the unbothered one, aka the curve queen on this messy runway.
Yeesh, messy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for this episode 75, we got our favorite on the on the podcast with us. Go ahead and introduce yourself, ma'am.
Y'all favorite? Stop it. Don't even play with my emotions like that, okay? Hey everybody, what's going on, family? It's your girl Britt Nicole, representing for the 414.
Period. For the 99s and the 2000s.
Why did I think of that? I always, yes, for the 99s and the 2000s. Okay. I'm your favorite poet's poet. Just kidding.
Period. No, you ain't kidding. You're not kidding. Tell them what it is. I'm your favorite poet's favorite poet.
All that.
Why?
I'm so happy to be here.
That we're glad to have you. And I was just about to say, I don't know what took us so long, but episode 75, here you are, Miss Britt Nicole.
Better late than never. We'll just call that a milestone. That's
yes.
Right.
It was the perfect milestone episode.
good.
All right, so we're gonna jump right in here. What are your vibes for the week?
Mine?
Go ahead.
Oh, I very chill. Like the art of relaxation, like a really stretching those limits. I'm talking about like straight 4 hours of binge watching, not answering the phone, not leaving the couch unless I like necessarily have to, you know, or play your list, your favorite, the playlist you put together and you put on shuffle because you know the answer is going to direct every single track the way it's going to shuffle it up just right. So you ain't got to even move from that.
Mm-hmm.
You get yourself up. I'm practicing the art of chill. That's my entire mood for this weekend is the total art of chill.
Come on. What about you, Ruthia?
My vibe this week is preparing. So like all week, that's all I've been seeing. People around me preparing. My sister is preparing for a newborn. So last night we was doing a crib, and I just hope the baby don't fall out. Because we was putting it together, and we had like 2 pieces that was left over. So we kind of slid them under the crib. But my sister's preparing for a baby. My son was preparing for the forward testing. Then I just started thinking about what all goes into preparing for something. So you have pastors that prepare for sermons, and you have the gardener that prepares the ground for something. So this week I'm just preparing for whatever is next for me.
Who having a baby?
Fatima.
Oh, okay.
Child,
I'm thinking about Lily. I was like, what? I missed that completely. So my vibe this week is a TikTok and Instagram sound. Y'all let me know if y'all have heard it. It goes, I'm having one of those moments. I'm having one of those moments. I'm having one of those moments. I'm having one of those moments, and that is literally it. That's it. People have been doing that style. And I'm like, that is the perfect example of what my week has been like. I've cried twice already this morning. I'm just, I don't know, y'all. Listen, the fact that I'm here and able to speak English is a miracle on top of everything else. It's just rough as hell. So let's move on before I start crying.
Oh, I'm always here for thug tears, though. You know what I'm saying? Because
Listen, bro.
it's just like you and I just be like as if we were just having a conversation. So I'm just putting that out there to the space. Like if we end up having to come back, we can come. It's fine because you already know what this is.
Right, because I was shouldn't finna be all up in your business, like so.
Listen, it's just been.
It's real.
It's just been a lot. Yeah. And then not being able to go in and practice the art of chill because ain't no time to chill. Like being a caregiver. And I hate calling that because I hate calling myself that because it seems so impersonal, but like, having to take care of my mom in ways that I'm unfamiliar, you know what I'm saying? In ways that I'm unfamiliar with, because it's like she's the caretaker, you know what I'm saying? She's the matriarch, like she's the one we all go to when stuff is wrong, and just, you know what I'm saying, being on the opposite end of that now is like, dog, I have to realize like I gotta be one of the strong ones in my family now, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a lot. And then my nephew passed away like 2 days ago. He was only 26 years old and had a fucking heart attack. So just being away from my family and shit like that.
I got tissues.
We got hugs.
Thank you. But maybe like, okay, you gotta keep living life. You gotta keep making shit happen. So yeah. I'm just having one of those moments. But now I'm done. I got that off my chest.
Well, I'll say this real quick, sis. While you having your moment and everybody assuming that you're supposed to just jump right back into some sort of normalcy of things, what should be normalized is pausing. You need to be able to process and feel what you need to feel, so then you can know how to do the other stuff and get back to whatever we consider to be normal, which could be completely abnormal because we need to learn how to slow down. And this is irony coming from me. This is why I'm saying it. Pausing is still taking care of you. You know what I'm saying? If all you did was get up out the bed and get on this podcast, you have nothing to prove and nothing else to complete for the day. You need to make sure you're taking care of you, because that's the kind of thing that you will tell anyone else, and you can only handle what you can handle. But that pause, give yourself real time to like acknowledge your breathing, what's triggering, the thoughts that's running, all that, because you matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you matter. And if something happened to you, God forbid, someone else is just going to replace to do whatever the task that you had to do, whatever, all the other stuff. You got to put yourself first a little bit. And if no one knows about, excuse me, taking care of mothers and their sickness, at least as for me, up until their transition. And that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I didn't think I have to do half of what you're doing. So you're not alone. And that's just it. Just to remind you that you're just not alone. Your village we always got you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Ruthia, can we have the quote, please?
So this week's quote actually came from a sermon that I was listening to this morning. And what I got out of it was, be careful how we allow other people to introduce us. Don't allow them to give us a title. Don't allow them to give us or explain our story or our reputation. And never let your past be, never let who you are, your identity be so caught up in your past. It's about
Mm,
who we are right now in this moment, and it's about who we are choosing to be and how we are choosing to show up each and every day. So that's the quote for this week.
I like that. I like that. And it's crazy that you say that. And I think about how we introduce our guests or how we don't introduce our guests every time we have them. We always allow them to introduce themselves because they may not want to be, you know what I'm saying, identified as this, that, or the other, or they don't want to be put in a box or, put on the spot. I love that. It definitely, yeah, be careful how you allow others to introduce you. Because then they get to shape your first impression. You know what I'm saying? People's first impression of you. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we should never give anybody that kind of control over our personal narratives.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the meat and potatoes of the show. We are here today with our favorite, Britt Nicole. So oh man, just knowing you, right? Just knowing you and being able, to be in your presence and, within your reach is amazing for me. And I'm sure I can speak for Ruthia as well. Just being a dope person, a light to so many people. So I definitely think we should take some time and let our pretty plus size and powerful community get to know you. So in your own words, who is Britt Nicole?
This complete weirdo who just happens to be charming and entices folks to love her by accident. No, I am a weirdo though, like a whole weirdo. I am Britt Nicole. Oh my God, the third person is she's someone who is trying to heal and using the tools that she has to get there by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And so if that encompasses, poetry or spoken word or, just a vibes, like a rap session, Ziza, you and I've had plenty. And if it's going to a community event or just, smiling or acknowledging a person's existence, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like whatever I'm supposed to be doing. I don't think we come into this world with titles at all. We're just, we're beings and we're meant to we're purpose beings meant to do the things that we're called to do. And that's it. You don't need a title for that, to just do what you came to do. So that's I guess that's Britt Nicole summed up. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So can you run us down your resume? You ain't got to do all of it, but just some of the things that you've done, that makes you the phenom that we all know in the community.
Oh my Lord. Yes. Okay. So I will pull out so I've been writing all my life, or at least as I could write, I guess, or just like writing things. I didn't become professionally doing it until like 2013. But I have been writing, especially in college and everything like that. So yeah, I started off, I was at Poetry Unplugged. Before I used to just go show love to everybody, and it was like, okay, get up the nerve to get up on that stage, and then I never got off. I've started with Dr. Kelly Hamilton in that same year. Uh, you know, one prominently known poetry set in Milwaukee known as Pentastic.
Come
That we
on.
started right in 2013, and hosted that the first 4 years. And they're always trying to do is build, heal, and cultivate. If you're here for entertainment purposes, then you came to the wrong set.
Mm.
You can get that. You can get that too, but the main three is what you need to be striving for. So, and shout out to them for still doing it. They'll be, Fantastic will be 8 years. Wow.
Wow.
In October. That's dope. Excuse me. I currently host Lyrical Sanctuary with UWM, second woman in its history, first
Come on.
person ever to host during the pandemic. What up?
Period.
I'm rolling up on my 3rd year in September. And that means my 4th season. And then after a meeting recently, they said I could stay on forever if I want to. And so
Yes.
that's really dope. So, and a sea full of men, the first one was Naima Adadapo. So I'm like, to be second behind her, it's like whatever.
Yes.
I performed at all kinds of community events. You probably see my face, private engagements. Yeah, the MJ experience a few years ago. I've sung backup for some of your favorite, local artists here. I was in a band, the Heal the Hood Soul Collective. That was awesome. I am also the president of Heal the Hood Milwaukee. I should say that with more confidence. I'm still trying to wake up. So forgive me. Saturdays are just like, and we're still sleeping, right? So I'm on autopilot. I'm real chill, y'all, but I'm just not like, I don't turn on until like 1.
Okay.
And then by the time I turn up, I'm ready for a nap again. But no, I've done a lot. I mean, I've wrote with people. I've been publishing like other people's things. But I am publishing my own book. This book y'all been waiting for forever, and I talk about it, whatever. But it's got to drop at least by May because I'm supposed to be going back to school in June. So it's either coming out in May or y'all never going to see it at this point. Like maybe y'all send me your emails and I'll just send you what it's supposed to look like.
No, we're gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna have that book out in May.
All right.
Look, this is the start of your press release tour.
What? That is a thing, y'all.
Because I'm writing it down.
You said what, Ruthia?
I'm writing it down. May book releasing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
You done released it into the atmosphere at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Should have bought a Honda. Good Lord. I've got to learn to just not say things. But yeah, on top of like performing, which is really dope, what I love the most is being able to have taught, like I've held writing sessions for adults. I've done writing sessions for young people. Youth development is where my heart is. That's what I do. That's my main thing. A shout out to Running Rebels. That's where I'm at. To continue this great work, even in the midst of all this chaos going on, realizing that there's still a need. Our children still need to be imparted in. They still need to be, uplifted because this stuff is just. I'm gonna leave it there because that's a whole soapbox. I don't like being boxed in just as like a poet or spoken word artist, but if that is what seals the deal for a contract and gets the check, you can call me whatever you like. I'm your baby tonight if you want to put that on the form. I just need that check to be correct. You know what I'm saying? Like I just need to reflect the check to reflect. That's all I'm saying. I need the check to reflect. Laughing, but very serious. Like right. But I love that. I love that I'm a healer, connector, and I'm a builder. Like I love, building with folks, connecting with folks is easy to me. Village minded, y'all know how I get down. And for those who don't know me, if you encounter me just a little bit, people will, would say the same. But yeah, like between all these years, there's all kind of things that's happened. You can find me on Spotify. I think I have 73 followers, maybe 74. But if anyone in the virtual world would like to add Britt Nicole with 1 T, I am so sorry to disappoint everyone who's ever tried to spell my name. There are no 2 T's in my name. I wouldn't forget that extra T. I'm not that foul to take one and not the other. You see what I did there? So just I'm pretty sure somebody's like, I don't give a fuck. I spell your name with two T's. Don't you spell your name with two T's. Whatever. As long as the check clears. Okay.
Period.
Yeah, I've done a lot and I'm still here. I'm working on my album. So there's a poetry book and a poetry album. And one track is out now because that track and another one is featured on my guy Tay Spears' album, his Undefiled album that dropped last September. So, he got two poets on there, and then one happened to have two tracks on there. I was like, ooh, on a hip hop album, where they do that at? So, but the only reason I wrote one poem specifically for the album, but the other one, my Obey track, I was like, the only reason I'm letting you put it on here because I just discovered that you can have the same song on multiple albums, and now things are well with my soul. I don't know why I have never clicked that in before, but now that I know, okay, we're good. As long as because I wrote that bitch like 9 years ago. I need all of the acknowledgement and royalties that come with that.
Listen,
give me my 2 cents. I mean, both my pennies right here. So yeah, that's happening. But yeah, just check for it, y'all. I'm a total procrastinator. I will find all the reasons to waste time if I just, like lollygagging is like my favorite pastime next to naps. So please hold me accountable so I can finish this because I really want to get it out to folks. Y'all really want it. Everybody's been talking about it for years, and so it's really happening. So yeah, you guys, you can check for Obey or Mental Aphrodisiac on all streaming platforms and see if it works if you type in Brit Nicole first, and then if not, like Tay Spears or both of us. So yes, please follow me.
Yes, come on, Mental Aphrodisiac.
That's the one I wrote for the album.
Let me go find that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I need parts of that. I need parts of that for sure.
You need to check both of them out. I really want so I wrote the Obey piece. Y'all know Dwelle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he has a song called Obey from like years ago, like 8 or 9 years ago. And he's always doing it at his shows or whatever. But I wrote that piece inspired by that one. Because I was going through a whole like drought. If you should say, I was trying to not do anything or whatever, but realized that there was something not happening. So I wrote that every time I try to write about love, I don't know if any other creatives have been like this, but if I'm in heat, or if I'm, what they say, if I'm all hot and bothered and it's been for a while, like I could try to write about love, y'all, and I think I'm writing about love, but they're like, this whole poem is about sex. And I'm like, how? Like, they feel very loving to me. It's like, yeah, you can tell who ain't getting that. Like, so I just, look, when you understand how you operate, I'm like, you know what, they kind of right. Looking back, after you look back at like, damn, I guess, I mean, there was love in this line, but the rest, okay. And they can tell. So not too long after I wrote that poem, one of my best friends, Sophie, Zizi, Sophie, we were in the parking lot at Walgreens on Brady, and I was like, bitch, pull over. I need you to hear this poem or whatever. And I like read it, and she was like, what? Well, you just wrote that? I said, yes. And then go check out Manifesting, because not too long after I wrote that poem, the issue was over. It's like I just wrote myself right into some company out of nowhere. It was just the greatest thing. It's great. It was just the greatest thing. And like, I've done that poem so many times throughout the city, whatever. And so to now actually like have a beat with it, record it, it's like, oh my God, it's a track. It's a track. Yes. And I had to perform it for Dwelle, like back in like 2015.
That's dope.
There's a
That's
video
dope.
on Facebook. He even slapped the table at all the. I was like, oh, y'all, I had to keep it real G. I was like, oh my God, there's a camera on me. I got to go up here and like represent. Like, yes, and y'all, it happens to me all the time. But yeah, that piece is so old, but it's just amazing to see like all your stuff from before is always gonna be brand new to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So keep recycling your stuff. If somebody ain't seen it.
Listen, that's a, listen. That's a good lesson. That's a good life lesson. Period.
Period.
So tell us more about this book that's coming out. What can we expect? What is the feel that you brought to the book that you want other people to have?
Yeah, so the book is called Moods, Melanin, and Magic, a Manifesto. Oh, come on, pull back. Yes. 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 Um, because
Mm.
really a lot of these, it was so hard trying to decide like what poems to put into the book. It's very nerve-wracking. It's just like trying to, pick a color off of if you didn't give me 5 and said this is the only 5 you got and you can't get them done without no. So it's hard when you're like picking and choosing. But honestly, it's just a collection of rights, of things written from a person who has wanted, the human experience of wanting love, of wanting to be free, of what it feels to be bound to things, to depression, to a person. You find yourself somewhere in everything. It could be a line or two from every piece that you read, and you will find yourself in it. It's just me just inviting you into my home and on the couch and saying, hey, let's have a conversation. I like to call it the great exchange. So I'm talking to you, you're listening, and then you're talking to me and I'm listening, so the mood is, I'm not saying, I don't want to say erratic, but it changes. It's a, you'll read one thing and feel something. You'll read one thing and feel another. It's not to just hold you in one space. You
Mm-hmm.
will feel things. It will feel like an emotional roller coaster because now you're trying to, you're relating to what you're reading and taking in. And now it's having you also reflect on your own experiences. So there's
Yes.
a lot of things happening that we don't even be understanding sometimes, like I'm not just reading something like, shoot, I'm reading it because it's going to make me feel something. I'm going to find a way to connect to it in some way. So, and I think that's probably why I've been so meticulous about it. Like, just like, is this really the one that I want put in there and all that kind of stuff. And this is a woman trying to be free. You'll learn more about me or confirm or reaffirm what you already knew in these words because it's me talking to you. So it's the book that we can share 2 bottles of wine, 3, because there's 3 of us. We all need our own. You see what that you can do over brunch or breakfast at 3 o'clock in the morning with your closest, with your kinfolk. Like that's the kind of feel with it, to make you feel good, make you feel hopeful. Like this world is kind of shitty. Humans, 0 out of 10 wouldn't recommend. But in the midst of all that, there is still goodness, right? There's still something that we can hold on to. And like you said, like holding on to your light. I cannot stand that song, This Little Light of Mine. It's like one of a top, I have a top like 3 or 5 of like church songs that if I never have to hear them again, I'll be okay. Like give me the sheet music and I'll take like a, there's that. Now we have confetti. um, excuse me, y'all. Ooh, Philem is choosing violence. This little light of mine, I'ma let it shine. It just hits different when that's all you got is your light, or if you feel like you've been caught in the dark so much that maybe someone offers you a little bit of their light. And I hope that whoever opens this book is able to receive the little bit of light that I'm willing to share of myself so that I don't, that I don't go out or something like that. I wasn't even trying to be all deep and poetic and shit. I just I don't know.
It's in you, not on you. It's in you.
Right.
There you go, profound lady.
How many poems can we expect to get in this book?
Girl, if I count it right, I think there's like 60. Who even wants to
Oh,
write
you
this thing?
wasn't playing.
There are, darling, there are so many things that I write. We are in the midst of a National Poetry Month. I may not have completed all 30 days throughout the years of me doing this, but I have definitely have put in some time and some work and then done my own challenges. And then you just write because and half the time the poem is writing you. I have so many things that I could have like. I'm really hoping it's not 60, but I feel like the I hope it's not over 60. But I'm pretty sure there's like between 50 and 60 poems in there. So please take your time. I mean, you already done purchased it, so just take your time reading.
Facts.
So who are some of the poets or writers or people that have inspired you to do what you're doing?
So I be fangirling over everyone. Everyone is literally like my favorite poet. I really hate to say that, but it'd be so true because they are all dynamic and different. So they're favorite for a different reason, like even if it's delivery or something. I will say I have a few major influences. My cousin Lilo inspires me, like with her writing. I love the way she describes things. I started putting a little bit more intentionality with cosmic and using certain words like galaxy, universe, and things like that when I was like listening to some of her words, like, oh yeah, like I could see that. And so there's her. My big sister Dina Dean from Chicago, she's literally one of my favorite writers ever, just amazing. One of my best friends, and he was actually our first virtual feature ever last semester. Kendall, but everybody knows him as Hayes. So I told him I used to try to write to impress him. Like, if you think it's great, then it's great. But if you think it's trash, then it's trash. Like, why would you? He was like, Britt, I love everything you write, but don't be lying to me. You're like, don't lie to me. Don't geek me up. Don't do that. Do not do that.
Right.
I mean, I know I'm good, but don't do that because I ain't never gonna get better. But like I'm inspired by so many and for many different reasons. The list I could waste a whole another 10 minutes talking about the names alone. But I will say when we were part of the nation, when we was part of at PU, so me, Ajamu, MVP, Lilo, Daz, Donnell, a couple others, and this tight knit group that we formed. We just wanted to get better and stronger. It was my who's the dopest, but like, and then living these words, and then all these things like that we had set out to do, and now respectively, we are and continue to do those things that we would sit down in each other's houses and talk about, like how do we take over our city, being more than just poets, being creatives, like and that's what. Oh, of course, my sis Miss Dia is definitely one of my favorites. But that's what we strive to do, and so everybody brings something new with their wordplay and everything. So yeah, I mentioned a few names, but really, if I could wrap them all up, that's what I would say.
I can't snap because I got the nails back. So
Clickety clack, the back
is back. So Britt, okay, just something real quick because as long as I've known you, you keep the nails done. You keep the colors is always on point. Can we get some quick nail cam real quick from you?
You ain't said nothing but a word, okay? Because we are rapping Team Teal 365. We
Yeah.
stand against sexual assault. It is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but it's what we do 365. It is not limited to just a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a survivor myself. So, and there are people still, dealing with things and everything. So, I needed to go get some self-care anyway. And I was like, oh, just because they see I didn't make a post yet, don't think a player forgot. I do this work. I live this life. I was
Yes.
facilitating things about human trafficking, doing things. I don't have my life threatened a couple times trying to look. This stuff is real. So, but boom, ain't nobody going nowhere. Ain't killed yet. Who dead? Not me. Still here.
Listen.
Oh my god. I should have better prepared for this. I probably should have went to sleep at like midnight versus 3. I was like, I ain't got nothing. Like I ain't got things to do.
It's okay. So let's keep it going. I am terrible with transitions. I don't know why. I just be like, yeah, let's
Move
keep
right
talking.
along.
But some of the social justice work that you've done in the youth development, how did you get into doing that type of work?
So I started into youth development as early as like going to church, when you're one of the older teens, and so helping out with the younger ones if it's like Sunday school or leading something. And so always, and then I never liked bullies. So I was the 10-year-old being popped all the time in church because I was questioning folks. I just feel like I got a question, you should answer it. Y'all not like I see a lot of people's titles and I hear about it, but I'd be like, that person don't do that, or they up here doing. I got popped so many times. Like it was like a growing up in a do as I say, but not as I do. And you just like, so is this okay or is this not okay? So always advocating like, I don't like bullies. I don't care if you elders. I don't care, you know what I'm saying, what your title is. I don't care how many conferences you done been to. I don't care about none of that stuff. So I don't like bullies. So I will always like challenge them. And then when I started working at Camp Helen Brockman, my first going into my first year as a in college. So working like the summers and things like that and just teaching them how to like stand up for themselves, or like what does it mean to be a leader when you have to make the right decisions, not the most popular decision. Like learning those skill sets that they can take back to the city. And working in youth development from COA, from camps and everything like that, after school programming, but always trying to teach if I was a teen coordinator, my staff how to advocate for themselves when I'm not around, to prepare yourself as if I'm not here anymore. And that's the same thing we used to do with our, with the young people and people I would encounter. Like back in 2010 was like, are you a public ally? And I didn't know what a public ally was. Like, you have a conversation with folks and then they like, oh, are you involved in this? Are you involved in that? Because that's the whole vibe that you're giving. Yo, I didn't know what a public ally was. I said, what? What do they do? But it's so many of us in Milwaukee, so many alumni. Shout out to everyone who's a PA alum. But then I realized the people who have been part of it before I even got into it, these are all people that I trust. These are people that I've like labored with. These are people I've had the community conversations with, and advocacy and all that in social justice. Oh, I can see that because that iron sharpens iron. Of course, you would assume that I'm one of them because look at the company that I keep, the ones that have already been doing it, and I just didn't know. So it's when I became a public ally in 2014, and I did it for 2 terms. Getting deep into the like the different systems of oppression, like the presentations, really unpacking that thing, and a sea full of folks that you got to work with that you think ain't even getting it, and then translate that. And you got to spin that narrative positively to your communities, and like ain't it some shit when you have to deal with systems of oppression? Ain't it like fuck racism? Don't you ever get tired of being a racist? Don't you ever get tired of being slandered, for being a Black woman and have to always have these things against you and always have to I got to really check for my triggers and all that kind of other stuff. But it's important in this work. So get into, there's layers to this shit. And for some people, it's, oppression 101. For some people, they've been like studying it since they was, 3. Everyone's different. But I'm glad to be placed in different, working with different groups or organizations that are trying to have a more diverse, like with diversity, leadership, inclusion, all those things, like, look for, you no, because a lot of them still don't get it. The Dwights don't be getting it, but they get the funding to do that. So then you get people like me in advocacy, like, we'll come take the money that you guys got. I'll join your team for the while, and we'll do this. Cool, because I can speak a language that you can't. They don't really speak the language of community. So I've been advocating all my life, if it's for friends or somebody else. I try not to put myself in too much harm's way, but we all lead and serve in different ways. So what advocacy looks like to you, maybe on the front lines marching, for somebody else is just, like saying, providing snacks, or somebody like providing an ear for them or space for people to vent and be open and get the things out. But everyone's still doing something. So I couldn't break down what I all do, but I know just providing spaces for people to just feel safe and get their shit out. I've been doing that, especially during the pandemic. I've been hosting like things via Zoom or whatever, for a lot of folks going through it. So,
how has writing helped you heal?
Writing helps me heal because it teaches me to really look at myself. Once you put it out there, you got to eat those words. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to really look at that and like, wait, is this me, or is this something? I'm just thinking of this concept. Like, no, it's you. And it's the answers to the questions that we don't want to ask because we already know the answer. Leave, go, move. I don't want to read that because I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But right now, currently, I need a reason to hold on. I can't really let go. If I let go, I'm losing that person forever. Okay, I'm gonna need you to read these words again, and I'm gonna need you to see the message. Leave, go, so you can grow, so you can heal, whatever. Like those, you have to deal with that shit. And you can crumple it up, you can erase the document. It still ain't gonna diminish what was shared. The message don't leave and become fabricated just because you don't want to accept it as the truth. So it's been helping me heal, excuse me, where I can look back at, so you would know that. You're going to read this book of poems and they're going to hit you in different ways. And you'll read something from 2011, you'll read something probably from 2018. I know what these particular pieces are, so I can look back at it and be like, wow, I kind of remember the space I was in when I wrote it. I can almost even slightly remember like how I was feeling, but I don't feel that anymore. So I can deliver this piece without the emotional attachment to it or whatever, like, because I'm not in that space anymore. Or I can look at a poem like, my God, between 6 years, look at the growth. If not as just a person, but at least as a writer, like, my God, like, I mean, they're good pieces, but the goal is to progressively, get better at what we're doing and how, but also our focus. Maybe poems were focused on other people. And then this one is about self-reflection. And I ain't really trying to reflect yet because I'm too busy focusing over here. But it's like, no, I need you to redirect your energy into you. So that's, and healing is not fun. I don't know whoever said that it was fun. Like, ain't nobody booking flights to go heal. Like, no. Oh, I'm about to go. Like, oh, what you about to do? Oh my God, it's a party. I'm about to go heal. That's not a party. That's literally cutting yourself back open from wounds that didn't properly heal. So the real toxins, which is usually not even really attached to another person, it could just be you. It could just be you, sis. And I done dealt with that man in the mirror plenty times. So we're cutting ourselves open to get that shit out. Now, if you decide to pack it in, if you know what that poison feels like, if you know what it's going to do to you. Yet here you are, like, but I'm gonna just keep it on the side because we have grown so conditioned to what that pain feels like, to what that sickness, that hurt feels like, as if, and you don't realize that you've been sick until you well again. Like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I was hunched over, now I can walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, healing is necessary. That's it. So by any means necessary, your healing, like if your healing exposes me in some way, well, shit, I probably need to be exposed so I can heal. Like, people need to understand that, like, healing is not fun. You want to just cry, you want to give up. And it's like this is the kind of stuff that we're gonna be doing until our physicals finally transition. You'll always be healing from something. You'll always have triggers and trauma. Like, yeah, sorry, we was raised in a way in a society at the time where people wasn't unpacking like that. But we have that control now, and we got that knowledge now, to do that work. And so, writing it down, especially when I don't want to write it down, because when I write it down, I finally have to come to the realization that this is the truth that's happening with me. Since you are dealing with depression, you do have anxiety, and you hide it well to most folks, but some people can also see right through you like glass. Like, you could do a little bit better with your finances. You could do a little bit better with your health. Like, I have my first poem in the book is called #typical Brit props, because first of all, I'm a bougie ass Black. I live on the Lower East Side. I just, y'all know how my life is, right? I just be minding the business that pays me. As long as if I ain't invite you, I don't know what you're here for. So, like, oh God. But first world problems, right? Like, when we are, something's wrong with our Starbucks order, like, or whatever. But it's a whole list of things. It's just called typical Brit props. Like, these are literally things that I deal with and struggle with. Adulting is definitely at the top of that list. So it's relatable, right? Sometimes I really wake up and don't want to do shit. I really have to, like, force myself to work sometimes. Not that I hate my job, I absolutely love it. But damn, I want to get paid for just sitting on the couch and not have to worry about using my PTO to do it. I just, like, yes, I wish there was some reliable ass sugar daddies that would just respond by blessing the Cash App so I know that it's real from time to time. What's wrong with that? I'm not policing it, son. A giver. I'm trying to learn how to be a good receiver. What up? Like,
amen to that.
I'm saying. So, but but yeah, y'all, at the end of the day, healing is necessary. It's a necessity. It is a necessity. And so and writing has brought me to a place, like, I don't think I could be doing this. I hated seeing myself on camera. I'm not cringing on the inside anymore, but I could not do this a few years ago. Like, for real. I used to get real upset, like, anxious when people would have cameras up, like during a performance or something like that. Like, I'm like, that loving yourself journey is so damn hard. And then it's like you going for your master's in healing, because that's an ongoing work too, right? They working in tandem. So now I'm trying to heal from shit, trying to unlearn the bullshit that was put on me, growing up, trying to relearn some stuff that I didn't get the message before, and learning. And at the same time, I still gotta love this body. And I gotta love this, the dimples, and I gotta love when that one little mark on your face, you just like, where that mark come from? And I gotta love those scars, external and internal. I got to love me and not give so much power or permission to do what I can also do for myself. That's why healing is important. That's why I keep writing, because I'm a masterpiece. And so every time, and just like y'all or anyone else, and I said that in the poem that I wrote for y'all opening. You're a masterpiece in the master's piece. So when you're up here, like, we're all creatives. If you do something like, it's easy when you're doing your dances and you're like, oh, maybe I can do this differently, or do something that, so that I'm not hurting myself. Like, I want to attempt this. You're always going back to it. It's important. So in our craft, that's what we do. We do things to work to get better and better and better. So as I'm healing, I'm growing, I'm glowing, people are like, I can see your light. That's because I know I'm doing my work, sis. I know I've been doing my work about me. I know I've been crying with tears in my eyes, wondering if I actually believe the affirmations that I'm saying. But guess what? I'm still gonna speak it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna speak it till we see it. We're gonna speak it till we believe it. Like we're gonna manifest that thing. Like people's like, man, you lost weight, and I ain't done shit to do it. But I believe that when you're working on yourself on the inside, you transform. You glow differently. This work is so important. So if I do it as a writer, and that just leads me to connect with folks. I'm just sharing in some words. You might be able to relate, you might not be able to, but when I get off this microphone or this stage or this platform, we can also just have a conversation too, because people just gravitate to me and I don't even question it anymore. So, but it all became, I was brave enough to put down some lines to share to be naked in front of folks, real bare on some lines, because I'm healing and I want to show them that it's not easy, but it's definitely doable for them too. That's why I write. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
You said something and it really, really hit home for me, because you said like sometimes people will tell you that you're losing weight when you're going through your healing process. And I experienced that. And I kept on saying like, no, I'm not losing weight. I feel like I'm gaining. But to them, they see me losing because I was shedding the trauma. I was shedding the things that was bothering me. But for me, the gain was gaining the confidence, gaining the, you know what I'm saying, the things that I was like, okay, so I'm losing this, but I'm able to gain this because now I have freed up so many things that I'm able to now be able to reach for. So I think that's super, super important, because people's like, oh my gosh, you look different. You look happy. And it's so important for you to actually feel it versus somebody else just telling you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You good over there, Z? Okay.
I just, I love that God chose me to be a Black woman creative. I love to see. So I think about my life and where I could have been. And we talk about like mental, emotional healing and wellness as well. And so to be brief, and I share this when I talk to my young people and whoever else, as a testimony. I wrote my first suicide letter when I was 10 years old. And I was in 5th grade, excuse me, at Golden My Year for the Gifted and Talented. That doesn't mean shit. Like even just because you think your kids are brilliant don't mean they're not going through. And so and it was really because I was dealing with one girl, like bullying, like dealing with me. I'm like, girl, what's the problem? And we're actually good, like pretty decent friends now. But, back then it was just a lot. And I had all these friends, but just, dealing with this one person. But, I just wrote it. I typed it up in our classroom and I printed off 3 copies, one for my parents, her parents, and the teacher. Like, and I think about, and I remember my family just kind of gathering with me to kind of discuss this and talk about this and, or getting older and dealing with depression or feelings of rejection all the time, like being everyone's like funny girl and, their human icebreaker, like life of the party and all that. It's like they saw me, but they didn't see me, or people wanted me, like they needed me around, but they never really wanted me around. Like, and I know that a lot of that is just bullshit now, but that's what I was dealing with. And I've had a few, actual attempts. Obviously they didn't work. When I lost my mother back in 2017, I told a friend he lives in Georgia. I said, hey, and I knew she was gonna pass. Said once this happens, you better send the APB out for me, because I'm gonna take my life. What I need to be here for? My mother is gone. Like, I was only gifted 30 years for her. That don't make no sense. And I've dealt with depression which felt like death. I've been there when I couldn't write anything, when I was constantly comparing myself to others, not, embracing or acknowledging my worth. And I talk about that stuff within the book too. I've always been like one of the darkest in my groups. Don't trip now, the darker the berry, what I'm saying? Like the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice and all that kind of stuff. But growing up, you don't see that, or, here we go, I'm, powerful, I'm plus size, I'm, I'm pretty, I'm doing this. But at the time, no one's making me really feel like I'm pretty, like, or I'm pretty enough for this or whatever. But there's always like somebody else that's like probably even more. And you write about that too, because we're writing about our experiences. And you're hoping that this doesn't always become your reality. So you're hoping that maybe next year or something, when you have to write something, you're writing about loving yourself a little bit more. You're writing about not having to put your worth in the hands and the minds and the voices of others outside of yourself. That kind of stuff. And like to remind myself that I am beautiful and for all these ways, or shedding those layers, shedding that toxicity, which was probably a lot of it just myself. A lot of it is us. We call out what toxic things are and then justify going back to those toxic things and toxic people, and we make the rationale because look, I'm grown, I can do what I want, it's whatever, I know what the consequences are, you don't control, but like it's a lot. So when we remove those toxins, so we can finally, that bulge that was there, oh, that's because you needed to forgive, or all that kind of stuff. You wake up just feeling different, your life just feels different, you can breathe a little easier. And I think about, young people now who've taken their lives, going through similar situations. And I'm like, what if I would have actually went through with it at the age of 10, 1997? All that up until now would never have happened. Or if I would have done it any of the other times when I wanted to, or attempted to, or if I was successful, like we wouldn't be having this conversation right now if I would have really went through what I was going to go through after I lost my mother. Or if I didn't take a chance, I had to get out of depression. Well, one of them back in 2013, and I was doing the dirty 30. And I got down to day 28, and I was in my room and I said, God, if you give me a platform, I'll go. I hadn't been writing. I had stopped going to PU. It was just a lot. And lo and behold, I did the Africa diaspora thing that they did at UWM. It was like me, Lilo, Genesis, Renji, and somebody else with the poets. And me and Lilo didn't even know that we were performing together, like cousin. It was one of those situations. And then it was the first student feature for Lyrical Sanctuary that she was part of. And she's like, support looks like you performing. And I performed, and it was a whole bunch of rappers too. Like some boy was like, dude was like, no, next track, bro. Do you want to perform or not? Can we keep it moving? So I got up there and I did my poem on the track, on the album, and in the book it's called Something Like a Love Poem. I never had titles, but for these projects I had to come up with titles, so you guys have titles. And I did it, and I had never seen and everybody, it was the end of the semester, people cross in a Greek life, people, it's the end of the semester, they're just here for the free snacks, they about to do finals, so it was a packed house. And they were all so attentive, they were so quiet and attentive, like they were lingering on every word that I said. And it was so beautiful. And they quoted words back to me, like one of my favorite poets too. She and her sister, Virgilette, and her sister Vernette, literally came up to me and started quoting my lines back to me. I had never experienced that before. I said, like someone was actually listening to me. And then I thought about, starting to go back to PU in 2013, did that poem, everything popped off of me. Pentastic popped off. I had my first ever feature in 2013. All these things were happening. But what if I would have just like not said that prayer? If I didn't step out on faith, if I didn't just go up here and just like, I don't need to be compared to anyone. I'm just going to do me. I don't have to write and talk about this. I can go up here. Somebody's going to hear these words and be like, you just spoke right to me. Like, cause I'm on assignment, as a creative, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. But I could have ended all of that if I would have followed through with thinking that I wasn't worthy enough to stay on this earth, beautiful enough, respected enough, anything. Like it's a constant work. And so that's it in a nutshell. I really believe that you're here on purpose, with purpose. And it has been hard. And if we had another hour or two, we could talk about how hard it has been. Like, loving myself is the most difficult thing I've ever had to do. And I have loved these niggas. So I'm telling y'all, it's a strong second. Okay. It's only like a 0.0543 that is a difference between first and second place. Who loving these niggas? Ladies or and gentlemen, if you ever have want to share stories of like failed relationships, terrible dates, all those great things, I am trying to create. I want to create poems out of them, and I want to publish a book called "These Niggas." Dot dot dot. You know, just a collection of stories that we've all. I'm serious. Like, I really want to do this for real. Like, no one. I mean, names would be changed. Names would even be apart. Like, we want to hear about it all because it's hilarious. You know. So, and it's gives me something fun to do. But this has been so great. I'm sorry for talking so much, y'all. I really should be asleep. That's all. Like trying this life again.
We love it. We love it. It's better than like people who come on and be like, I'm going to answer your question and that's it.
Oh,
Or have those one sentence and that's it. Like,
but see, I'm a run-on sentence. Like this whole conversation was just 20 conversations wrapped into one. It's like, you know, putting the stars together to get the constellation. Like, oh, that's what she was trying to say this entire time.
It's okay. It's okay. So, if we may put you on the spot, can we hear one of the poems that may or may not be in the book or one of your favorites?
Oh, yeah. I can do that. What do I know off the You know what? I always do this one. Well, it's one of my favorites, and it's in the book and on the album. And it was so I got to quickly shout out to Wordplay Wednesday when it used to go down after a cracking night of PU on a Tuesday night, and you know, putting people on hold at COA so much so I can go up here and type and post and post poems with everybody else. So this is my C poem. Oh, I love it so much. I hope I don't forget. Let's do this. He cornered and he conquered me, captured me with his most precious camera, his eyes, catered to my cadence while confessing his convictions over coffee on a Sunday morning, me cortisone. You see, coaxing me was a coping mechanism for him. And our conversations coiled such a connection between us that when our worlds collided, it was anything but catastrophic. And it was at that moment I become more than just his comrade, his commodity. No, I was his cool. I was his complete. I was his choice. And our circle of friends were changing like the seasons, and we combated every force against us. We were so crafty and courageous with our love. We were so cohesive. We were curse words and catalyst. We were calamity and comfort all at the same time. His canvas is painted deep cocoa complexity, a man who knows the very core of my central will, so chivalrous. The way he just croons me with his charismatic smile and melodies, I tend to crumble on the inside. I clench when he's inside. He is a chronic to my insides, but yo, there is a glow that I can't hide. Champion with charm, he is cooler than cool. He is ice cold, careful when his hands are upon my mold. The greatest story never told. And if this love was ever deemed illegal, we'd gladly commit the crime just to spend a lifetime locked up in each other's lifelines. He is the reason for these dope lines, craving his company like a fiend for a coke line. He came at the perfect time. Beloved, it has always been you. Thanks.
Pass the collection plate.
Y'all are so lovely. Oh my goodness.
Dude,
Yeah, so
the
that's actually one of
delivery.
my favorites. That's actually one of my favorites. Like,
I can listen to you do poetry all day. Like, it's not just like in addition to the words, it be the delivery. Like,
oh my god, I'm a weirdo. Like, I don't even know how to react to it. Face, check the face, check the face. Look at the nails. Just look at the nails. I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Well, we thank you so much for being here with us. We are going to start to close out the show. And we have to start with a little section we like to call Don't Let This Fluffy Shit Fool You. Ruthia, would you like to go first?
Sure. So well, I don't remember what day it was. It had to be like Tuesday night. I was at work, and I don't know, many of you might know I have vertigo, and I haven't had a bad episode in a long time. I've been kind of faking it and just being like, oh, I can deal with I can deal with, but I tried to fake it and almost killed myself. Literally. I was on the forklift and I knew I was having an episode. So yeah, I almost killed myself. So um I eventually got down after I could breathe, and because my vertigo then goes into anxiety attacks because I'm in a moment where I'm like, why am I not able to control this? And why am I in this dark space? And why am I allowing myself to get in these moments? And I had to humble myself and basically ask for help. But I eventually needed medical attention. So my fluffy shit goes to vertigo for trying to control me and put me in a space where I feel as if I'm helpless. So vertigo, don't let this fluffy shit fool you.
Period.
So my fluffy shit this week goes to American work culture. I don't even know if that's what I should call it, but that's how I'm gonna describe, or that's how I'm gonna title it, and then I'll explain. We as adults, right? Once you hit a certain age, you're encouraged to, go to work to try to live this American dream that so many people never attain. We get convinced that we need to work 40 hours a week, if not more, to live a life that is measured on how many things you can acquire, instead of the experience that you know what I'm saying, provide yourself or to your loved ones. And then we end up unhappy, burnt out, overworked, underpaid, treated unfairly, especially, you know, especially Black women. Like, I was scrolling before and it was like, Black women make 62% less than white men. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, we're working just as hard. We're going to school to get twice the amount of degrees to still be undervalued. And I think that as a society, we have been tricked and hoodwinked and all of that into believing that we have to just work a little bit harder. We just got to push a little bit more. You know what I mean? And then when we decide, like, you know what? Fuck what y'all talking about. I'm going to go and get my own. Then we have to face another set of obstacles, sometimes insurmountable, like, because we're so unequally funded even when we try to start our own businesses. I was listening to something and they said the average startup loan to a Black business is less than $30,000, but that same thing for a white business is $106,000. So we're literally starting with less than a third of what some of our counterparts are getting. They scrutinize and pick over, you know what I'm saying, exactly what it is that we want to do in our business. But then you have other cultures, and I mean, these are even other cultures of color, who they get things like venture capital and angel investors without being, picked and prodded over, for every little detail. So I don't know. I think I'm just kind of frustrated with you damned if you do and you damned if you don't when it comes to building wealth, for Black people, and how we keep getting sucked into the same cycle. I also saw a post, and I didn't check the numbers. I didn't check how true it was, but it was just saying that, the average rent in America is like $1,420 just about. And then when you rent, they want you to make 3 to 4 times that amount, which would mean that you need to make somewhere around $5,600 a month just to afford the average rent, which means you would need to be getting paid about $35 an hour. Where the fuck they do that at? So again, we back into you work yourself to death, work your fingers down to the bone, and we still ain't gonna give your ass shit. So fuck that whole cycle. Don't let that fluffy shit fool you. Britt, what about you, darling?
I think I'm gonna give my fluffy shit to men who be having us fucked up in every capacity, who don't want to take accountability but want to play like, hurt bae just over the dumbest things, just who make unnecessary assumptions that you're supposed to take care of them. I had an experience at the nail shop I attend. I attend like I'm a member of the church. That I go to, like the name of everything has changed. It was Q Nail Spa, and now it's Bella Nail Spa, and I'm like, and all new people. So the owners who were before, the one guy, he's kind of like a man child. He just makes me think of a man child, just like he threw all the tantrums when you were younger, when you didn't get your way, and as an adult, you never grew out from that. And I'm usually one of the last clients because I'm coming from work, and the lady who does my nails or used to do them just asked him to just clean his station. Like, bruh, just straighten your shit out because you got to come back tomorrow anyway. And he like, you gotta shut the fuck up talking to me, and then went into his like native tongue, and I'm like, so me and sis are like, she's doing my nails, I'm looking at her, and he's behind me going off. Why do you even feel so comfortable around me doing that? I'm a customer. I'm paying for an experience, and you are not adding to that positively. Like, but you can tell, like, if that's okay with him doing in front of, like, a customer and maybe a couple other staff, then he does this often.
Mm-hmm.
And he had me all the way fucked up. I'm looking at her like, are you okay? Does this happen often? Do I need to rise up? Like, what's happening here? So just men with these, and that's the Asian man, but all the men, I love y'all, but it's just these unrealistic expectations. When I find myself in groups or looking at people's posts and just the shit that people say, everything that's been popping off, seems like every week is something else. I'm not gonna say the names because I don't want to really talk about it, but these men be really with this ashy ass energy be having us fucked up, and then when we don't agree to it, it's like, see, that's why you're gonna be alone because you ain't submissive. That's not me being submissive. That is me preventing from being a dumbass, sir. Okay? Know the difference. I was born at night, not last night. So that little manipulation thing you're doing, I need you to shut it down. Okay? Like, it's so crazy how if you really stop and think about ways that you've gotten some things or gotten people to do things, like, honestly, sometimes it's like, damn, I really was manipulating them. And so that it. You can see it from a mile away. Like, I know this game. Because the thing is, y'all, they don't change up their strategy. They shit got like a 64.2% rate, and they're going to still keep using the same strategies because 64% of the time it works. That's above average. That's above 50. So yeah. And we combat that by blocking these fools, by not giving them our energy, being so unbothered and at peace that it really frustrates everyone around you. How crazy is that? You are at total peace and everyone else is losing their shit because you're at peace. Because you won't give into it. So that's the fluffy shit, but I'm still not one to be fucked with.
Period.
and seen. Come on. So y'all know we don't leave you on a down note. We got to bring it up. We got to turn it around with our section that we like to call Keeping It Cute. And this week, we have like a compact or a doozy. I don't know what to call it. I'm losing words. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. We have like a 54. So it's not a 2-4. It's a 54. Black Enterprise came out with an article of the 50 most important Black entrepreneurs over the last 50 years. That list includes people like Jay-Z, P. Diddy, Damon Johnson. Is Damon Johnson Dame Dash? Are they one and the same?
Girl, don't give
Or
me the
Damon
line.
John? I don't know. I can't tell. Magic Johnson. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And so I would implore everybody to go to Black Enterprise. You can either go to their website, you can go to their Instagram, take a look at that list, and just find I'm 100% sure you're going to find yourself inspired, because in the face of everything that Black people have going on, we have always and will always persist. We will always rise. You know what I'm saying? We always go do what needs to be done to make sure that we survive. So, take some time to find out who these Black entrepreneurs have been. They are paving the way. You know what I'm saying? They have paved the way, so that we can, follow in their footsteps. So shout out to Black entrepreneurship. Thank you for keeping it cute forever and always. All right, we are wrapping it up. Y'all know what time it is. Go to the mirror, say exactly what it is that you need to say to yourself to get you through the week. It is time for the I am statement. This week, I am undefeated.
This week, I am reaching, I am stretching, I am basically getting back on track.
This week, I am finding joy in my rest.
All right. Well, make sure you follow us on all of the things, www.prettypluspower.com. Make sure you are following the page, Pretty Plus Size and Powerful. Join the group, Pretty Plus Size and Powerful, with group at the end. Follow us on Instagram at Pretty Plus Power. You can follow me personally at Zebo_P3 on everything. Ruthia, where can they find you?
I am only on IG, but my IG handle is _P3.
All right. And Brittany Cole, where can people find you, and how can they be on the lookout? How can they stay on the lookout for the new book and album?
Yes, so follow me. You can follow me on the Book of Faces, Brittany Cole, remember 1T. You can follow me on Instagram at Poetically Brit. Please be watching on IG. So it's National Poetry Month, the Dirty 30, and I am recording a poem and posting it on both Instagram and Facebook for everyone. And the first one got already almost 400 views. I'm like, what? So please check out for that. So it's keeping me accountable to make sure I'm producing something every day. But yeah, Brittany Cole, Facebook, Instagram, Poetically Brit, Brittany Cole the Poet at gmail.com if you ever, want to email, book, or talk something, whatever. And you can just catch me out in these streets.
And she loved karaoke, so invite her to karaoke too.
Please invite me to karaoke. I have been missing it so much.
Pull the mic out. Okay.
If you stay ready, you ain't gonna get.
All right, you all. Thank you for joining us for episode 75. We have reached a landmark. Is it a landmark?
Landmark
milestone. It's a milestone. And we have been here with our favorite, Miss Brittany Cole. I don't know. Maybe I need to take a nap. But we will
next
see
time,
you all next week. Bye.